Come on, boys. Come on, Ralph. Come on, boys. Good boys. Hello, James. How are you, mate? Hello, James. How you doing, mate? Me and Ralph, Roger and Ruth thought we'd come up and see how you're getting on, see how you're doing. It's a lovely day. We thought we'd come up, have a beer with you and cut round your grave, mate. It's been a few weeks, isn't it? This is the grave of James Ashton, a grenadier in the Royal Lanka Militia, all the way from the Bolton area. So, in 1798, the Royal Lancashire Militia marched from the Bolton area of Lancashire to London, in them days on foot, and then from London they marched to Plymouth as part of the defence of Plymouth. And at the time, as far as we're aware, the Royal Lancashire Militia were based up here defending the defences around into Plymouth Harbour. Now sadly, James drowned himself in the old Admiralty Quarry, which we believe is down in the village of Millbrook. Now local folklore says that James committed suicide, and because he committed suicide and the local folklore says he got himself into a spot of bother with a local lady, he couldn't be buried in consecrated ground. So he was buried here on the Redoubt, and the regiment paid for the headstone and at the time a metal iron fence which went all the way around the grave. But over the years, sadly, the fence is rotted away. So what we've got here is James Ashton's headstone, gravestone. I've done a rubbing over the years of the gravestone, and what it reads is, "Here lies the remains of James Ashton, a grenadier in the Royal Lancashire Militia who was drowned in the old Admiralty Quarry on a date we can't make out, 1798. Now, the headstone's been here a number of years, but we believe his actual body lies over here, just off the Redoubt. So we believe James is actually buried over there. So back in 2015, I was camping up here with Ralph, my old dog, and we was up in the Random Arms, which is now closed, was the bar. And on the wall was a map, a 1954 map, and on it was marked a soldier's grave. And I asked at the bar, "Where's this soldier buried?" And they roughly pointed me in the right direction. So I came down, someone had showed me, and I came up onto this redoubt. This is redoubt number 3. And basically it was overgrown with brambles, pretty much like over there. And I fought my way through with Ralph, and we found the headstone. And that's when I took it upon myself, we need to do something about this. This soldier needs to be remembered. So I returned with my strimmer. I strimmed the entire redoubt back. Good old Ralph, he just sat by the tree, and I cleared it all out. Now at the time, I was a serving officer in the Royal Navy, a warrant officer, and I spoke to the Padre at Britannia Royal Naval College, Dartmouth, and I said to the Padre, the Bishop, can we do some form of rededication to remember this soldier? And it grew from there. So HMS Raleigh trainees came up, Britannia Royal Naval College officers came up, we had a Royal Marine bugler, and we had the Naval Padre and the local schools. and ITV Southwest even came up and filmed it, and we did a rededication of the grave, a few hymns, the last post, and so on and so forth, and it made ITV Southwest Evening News. And I just thought it was great that this soldier, all them years ago, miles from home, doesn't know where he really is, came here to protect the forts of Plymouth and to obviously fighting for his king. So it's great memorial for him to remember James Ashton for what he did for us all those years ago. So regularly I come up now and I look after the grave, and I've maintained it ever since we did that rededication back in 2015. And what I always do, because I think it's quite sentimental, I always bring a beer up and I'll have a beer with James. So I have a sip and James will have a sip with me. Cheers, James. All the best, James. I'll see you next time, James. See you in a few weeks, my friend. Come on, boys. So in 1798, after James' passing, the regiment, the Royal Lancashire Militia, then marched to Ireland to continue with further campaigns. So redoubts 1, 2 and 3, and this is number 3 redoubt where James is buried, were built in the late 1700s to counter a possible threat of an invasion from Franco-Spanish raiders. So they were built here to defend Cawsand and the port of Plymouth, because back in the early days there were raiders into Cawsand from Spanish galleons, etc. If the enemy managed to take this high ground, it would give them easy access and control of fire into the dockyard, which was building and ever expanding back in them days. This redoubt was abandoned when it was deemed there was no longer a greater threat, and the threat diminished of an invasion. Sadly, James was left behind all those years ago, 225 years ago, and it's important that we remember him to this day. In later years, in the 1800s, stronger fortifications were built, such as Grenville Battery and Raleigh Battery, which are over there. Come on, boys.